if we started a retirement savings from scratch, what would we do differently? We do this. My first bullet point is consider jobs with better than poverty wages, okay? Yeah, definitely. No, it was a lot of thinking I was going to be making a lot of commission, working a lot of hours every day and making no money. So I would definitely, in hindsight, most of my first career choices, job choices.
Living for just today wasn't enough.
Yeah, I was living for yesterday, okay? It was not a good thing. Really, really needed to consider better employers, better pay to begin with.
And you found, ironically, you actually worked in the industry, but didn't have the offer of the benefits.
Right.
You would think that you would.
As we're discussing this with Zach before we tape this, okay, I realized the first 3 companies I worked at in this industry, I have absolutely no memory of what kind of retirement plans we had, okay? It wasn't until the 4th one that I had some understanding of what was being offered. I remember more about your employer's retirement benefits from the 80s than I do my own employer's retirement benefits from the 90s. So that gives you an idea of how they weren't.
We had a great employer, enrollment meeting. Do you know?
You did.
I
I don't remember. I have no memory of any enrollment meetings except the ones we've done ourselves.
Very, very, very strange.
And I'm sitting here drinking bourbon and getting old, so who knows? Maybe that's part of it. What I change about that? What I would change about that is be way more aware of, have more focus and curiosity about what the employer is offering. Make sure I understand what the employer is offering as a minimum. Make sure I understand what my options are, and really be a lot more invested in making sure I understood what I needed to do to be better involved in the benefit from the benefit better. Right?
Yep.
Simple word, a one-word phrase to describe what I was doing that was wrong was very passive. Everything I've just described as being a lot more active. I should have been a lot more active with it.
But I think my experience also shows is the employer actually making a choice to have a plan. That is really key to someone actually understanding and learning what it is, and understanding, actually using it even before you completely understand it. I mean, right. There was a nice match, and I was contributing enough to get the match. So I was getting that opportunity. And now when we reflect back, that was a better job than some other jobs.
Absolutely. It's
long term, it actually really makes a difference. And in the short term, you just go, what's my income if I'm making, $500 more here, then I'm doing much better? Well, maybe not. Also, and it is an indicator of the quality of the employer.
Also, part of understanding what you do different is making sure, because you're going to know what one employer has for benefit for you, make sure you roll that benefit from one plan to a next, okay? There's a lot of leakage in my old retirement plans. It all got spent somewhere along the line before I started my own, and there's people in the room nodding their head in agreement with me. So it happens. Leakage is, there's a lot of different types of holes in people's retirement plans, and going from one company to another can be a really, really big hole. So that'd be another thing we would do differently, or I would do differently.
From my perspective, it could just be because I fell into this job, but it seems like the education about this stuff is much better.
Well, you're in a Zach's in a very unique situation. His very first job is having to do marketing for this kind of industry, so he's having to learn a lot more. But I think you could be right, because Katherine was at a company that was very marketing forward about everything they did, and I mean in a positive way. Wanted to have really good benefits all across the board. It was really part of their corporate essence in a good way, all right? And so they were doing that on their own. And I was, I'm trying to go back, but I think I might, in the past 30 years, I do remember a 5-minute enrollment meeting a couple of employers ago, so that's a long time ago, but the ones before that, there's no memory of any enrollment meetings. There's no education. I know sometimes employees feel like they're being given too much paperwork to read, but there is a much greater emphasis right now on education and awareness. And I don't remember watching YouTube 35 years ago.
Yeah, but some of that is there's now more rules about
There
employee
is a
education.
heck of a lot
and
more rules about education.
And there's a reason.
Absolutely.
There is a
Because,
reason.
like I said, the first 3 employers I was at in this business, I have no recollection of what the retirement plans were like. Hopefully you have enjoyed this conversation with us about our childhood. I mean, early adulthood. Feels like forever ago. So
That
please.
paper route just didn't have a 401k
No, it
plan
didn't.
for you,
There
did
was
it?
no match in my paper route.
And
All
people
right.
are going to go, what is a paper route?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, our kids don't know. So please check out our other videos on 401k plans, and we would obviously love to continue having this conversation with you. So please do the usual stuff. Like, subscribe, comment, let your friends and neighbors know about us. We're looking forward to talking to you. Take care.
Toodaloo.